You've read the title of the video, so let me just get right to the point. It was stellar. It was excellent. I very much enjoyed it. Jujutsu Kaisen, I will never forget you for as long as I live. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned that I'd make a retrospective video about JJK once I finished reading the manga start to end, and I just finished that, so here we go, the highs and lows of Jujutsu Kaisen in my opinion. And unlike the manga itself, we may as well end on a good note, so let's start with the bad of JJK. And before we officially begin, I mean this to be an open discussion, so I want you to let me know what you think as well. I've read a lot of manga in my life, consumed a lot of media, and minor spoilers, JJK is not top 10 in terms of writing. This is just what I felt while reading JJK, again. And if you have different opinions, please let me know down below. Let's do this. No piece of media is perfect, and JJK is certainly no exception. Starting with the bad, let's just get it right off the bat. The ending was obviously bad. We've talked about it for a long time. There was simple domain lore for no reason. The students were post-game analyzing the Sukuna fight. Yes, it was rushed. It was a dud. I've said this many times before. It was not bad insofar as desecrating the themes of the manga, but when you read a manga for 6 years, you expect a payout. You expect something that you want to see. And when you don't get that, it just blows, man. If you want to see me talk about the last 5 chapters, which were particularly, one might say, atrocious, please go check out those videos. But yeah, the ending, as we know, was not it. Next, we've got 2 points that kind of go hand in hand. We've got the lack of character interaction. For instance, Gojo and Nobara basically do no actual interacting, and then at the end of the manga, we see Nobara caring for Gojo, of course. All of this happens off screen, not great, and then there's lack of character development as well. Now that can also be attributed to the lack of character interaction, but even characters who do interact with other characters get almost no arc. It makes very little sense. I mean, you take a look at this manga panel when Sukuna tells Megumi, give it up, you can't live a proper life anymore, just relax and leave it all to me, shout out iCarly. I just don't understand. Megumi, after having witnessed fucking atrocities, decides to say, you know what, everything I've been through, I'm down to run it back. Why not? That's what happens when Miranda Cosgrove sings to you. It's, what the fuck? Just once more, I think I want to try living for someone else. Megumi, you had so much potential to be a great character. I liked you so much. And by the end of the series, you're exactly where you started. Yuji, same thing. The main characters. I could talk about this for a while, but let's continue. Some people say that Shibuya happened too early, and I don't actually like this argument very much, because even if a banger of a banger arc happens early, actually the manga can pick up the slack and still have it later. Unfortunately, JJK does not do this, and Shibuya was basically the peak. Now don't get me wrong, I think the Gojo vs Sukuna fight was absolutely legendary, but Shinjuku dropped the ball after that. But Shibuya just was the best part of JJK, and when you have something that good happening early, obviously your expectations are set through the roof, and when it doesn't deliver, when it fails to do so, you're left disappointed. That's just how it is. Next, we've got an issue that a lot of people have been bringing up since the end of JJK, and it's the topic of the unresolved plot points. Now don't get me wrong, I think that a lot of people are just complaining to be haters, that's just how it is. But yes, there are certainly a lot of unresolved plot points. I mean, for unresolved plot points, we've got Tengen in general, including the relationship with Kenjaku. What'll happen to the rest of the Culling Game players? Honestly, who really cares about this one? We've got Yuki versus Geto optimization and removal of cursed energy. The 3 major Jujutsu clans also, who really cares about this one? And Yuji's grandfather. Plus, the merger itself. Initially, I was in the same boat about all of these, but granted on a reread, I actually don't think all of these need to be resolved. It's just simply not necessary for the story, but I do want to say one thing. People, myself included to an extent, were mad about the plot points that were included and left unresolved. And while a lot of them did not hold critical weight to the story and the outcome that Gege wanted to tell, it's still disappointed to be baited like this, especially for something as important as the merger. I know it was Gege's wish to have Sukuna be the villain, but if that's the case, why even bring up the merger and set it up as such an important plot point? For instance, imagine if Naruto and Sasuke defeated Madara before the Infinite Tsukuyomi even happened. It would be a lot of buildup for nothing, right? And in the end, they still beat Madara, the Infinite Tsukuyomi still happened, and they still had a huge fight at the end, which is what everybody was waiting for. It just makes very little sense to include so many things and then just not deliver. Again, this is Gege's story to tell and I'm digressing. Next, we've got Gojo, one of the most popular characters in anime, by far the most popular character in Jujutsu Kaisen. He was handled, by the end, very poorly. Yes, he had to lose narratively for the plot to make sense, but the way there was a character assassination in chapter 236 still boggles my mind. What was Gege thinking with Gojo? We'll get to that in a sec. It's not that important. And lastly, it is just not a particularly fulfilling narrative. What really was Jujutsu Kaisen trying to tell us? who really gives a shit? That's fine. Not every story needs to be Vinland Saga, but JJK, it was not your big brain manga. Let me tell you that. At the end of the day, it was a battle shonen with some additional steps. And you know what? That's okay. Let's move on to the good. Coming off of the point of the lackluster narrative, we've got so many hype moments in Aura and so many rule of cool moments in JJK. And guess what? If that's what this manga was meant to be, actually stellar job. Look at this panel. It's so fucking hype. Sometimes that's all you need for entertainment. Say what you will about the writing, but sometimes you don't want to watch Better Call Saul. Sometimes you don't want to watch The Wire. You just want to sit and veg out and watch reality TV. And if that's what you want, perfect. There's things for that too. Next up, we've got the anime. As good as the manga was, the anime is what made this generational. I remember watching season 1, it was amazing. Season 2, oh my fucking god. Every single episode was a banger. It brought so many people who don't give a shit about anime into the anime sphere. Gojo, Yuji, Megumi, Sukuna, Jesus Christ. The characters were all done so well, and a lot of this was MAPPA. I wish I could rewatch it for the first time. And I'm hoping that the anime fixes a lot of issues with the manga in the future. Next up, we've got the fact that it's a more serious or darker shonen. This was proved to be wrong by the time that everybody was brought back. But during the actual reading of the manga, it was so cool to see a dark trio shonen do so well. Before the revival of everybody, you never knew who was gonna die. Yeah, there were some people who had huge death flags, but the fact that every main character had the ability to actually just get written out of the story, it was refreshing to see. And then next up, while I said this was also an issue, the character interactions, the few that we did get, were fucking stellar. Mahito and Yuji, Todo and Yuji, most people with Yuji, Gojo and Sukuna. They were so well done, and the character designs were so well done that you just wanted to see more of them. Hype and aura and cool. That's just what it is. And then I might get a little flack for this one, but I also thought the power system was cool. Yeah, it made no sense at a lot of times, but anything based on Nen is gonna be pretty cool. I mean, they took a negative force, made it powerful, explained a lot of shonen tropes, showing your hand. Yeah, binding vows still make no fucking sense, and I wish we got more explained about them, but hey, cool. It's just cool. One of my favorite things about JJK was reading the Sukuna Gojo fight in real time. Holy, I have not had as much fun reading manga as I have Gojo vs. Sukuna for those weeks that it was being published. Do you guys remember how hype that was? I remember telling people that had nothing to do with JJK about what was going on. I remember telling my mom, I was like, dude, Gojo is dog walking Sukuna, but you know, narratively, I actually think he has to lose. I just don't know how he's gonna do it. This is a real conversation I had, and he ended up dying and I ended up crying and my mom told me I was an idiot, but hey, what's new? It was so satisfactory and cathartic to get such a cool fight, and when it's animated, breaking of the internet. And finally, Yegi's paneling and art improvement was a pleasure to watch. His paneling in particular is better than a lot of mangaka. I'll probably put some up right now, and I've talked about this in the past, but yeah, the art was good, at least. And that was the good of JJK, but I also want to talk about the great of JJK. This part of the video is going to be a little bit more meta, but bear with me. First of all, the memes. A lot of manga, a lot of media have great memes. JJK, as far as I'm concerned, blew them up out of the fucking water. I mean, Now I'd Win was a national treasure. I don't know what it is about the JJK community. I don't know if a team of scientists came and birthed the perfect meme lords, but holy shit, in real time, the memes that people were coming up with were fantastic, stellar, top 2, top 1 perhaps, community of memeing that I've ever seen. And I think part of the reason for this is what I mentioned about the anime. It brought so many people that were outside of the manga joking sphere, anime joking sphere, and just had so many brain-rotted jokes about just internet culture as a whole. I mean, you had Olympians doing the Gojo pose, that it made this spectacle in real time to see. Next up, we've got something that I have a whole video about on the channel, the agendas. And while One Piece, I think, is the manga that really started the agenda talk, just like the memes, JJK took that and elevated it to the next level. JJK fans, I was not familiar with your game. I mean, pushing agendas can be boring, but dude, Farmer Kashimo, which is by the way the best Kashimo agenda, Fraud Kuna, Fraud Joe, Go Jover, it kinda just never got old. And in that same vein, we have so many brain rot fanfics. I'm really just talking about how stupid the community is at this point, but it all comes together to create an enjoyable experience. Continuing to talk about the stupid community, we had real-time predictions that never came true. I remember reading chapter to chapter, week to week. People had so many theories about this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and they never happened because Gege would subvert expectations every single time, and then we would all be destitute, completely brain dead, looking at our screens, and we'd do it again. And it was just fun. I mean, I love discussing JJK with you guys. I like seeing your shitty theories and shitty jokes. I still like doing that. And then next up, we've also got the Culling Games. I mean, dude, as an arc, no, I can't even make that joke. The Culling Games, a little bit of a dropped ball, particularly the America part. Wish I could defend you there, Gege, but hopefully the anime will do a better job. And last but not least, we've got Gojo's comeback. And I'm not only talking about the memes of Gojo's comeback, because those are stellar, but Gojo's comeback itself. Longtime viewers of the channel know that I've been calling myself the realized Satoru Gojo for a long time now, because while I am a fucking disappointment, I do it all while being cocky. And newer viewers always come in and they say, no, you're not Gojo, you don't even look anything like Gojo, you're three-dimensional. All I can say to you is, nah, I'm him. Now, if it's literally anything else, if it's Kenjaku in Gojo's body, if it's Yuta with the 6 eyes, if it's Inumaki cosplaying as Gojo, if it's Nobara with a fresh cut, you can pause the video, and here's a list of things that might happen. Alright, everyone's favorite YouTuber, Luca here. Man, what a day. Told ya. In conclusion, what can we say about JJK as a whole? JJK had a lot of potential, and just because the end was a dud, do not forget that it was good from the beginning of the series. Reread it and you'll see. While that is true, JJK also had a lot of flaws, and we covered some of them in this video. I didn't want to go too deep into this. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, because online I've been seeing so much, why wasn't this covered? Why wasn't this was shitty? This was shitty. Guys, remember how fun it was to actually read. It is difficult to end a manga. It is difficult to actually write a story. It's not as easy as you think. And even so, it left an impression on many people. I mean, a lot of you guys wouldn't be here if it wasn't for JJK, and for that I'm obviously very thankful. And the communities are still active, even though it's been, 2-3 weeks since the manga has ended. I mean, just think about how many Halloween costumes are gonna be for JJK, and I need your help with that. I'm gonna probably make a video going out as Gojo for Halloween. I wanna do like a bingo/scavenger hunt. Leave any suggestions for which costumes I should look for down below. I'm gonna try to interview them, get some shots with them at least, so let me know any questions that you want me to ask my scavenger hunted people down below. But back to JJK, the community, the memes, the discussions, they were legendary. I have never read a manga in real time and had as much fun with the community as I did with JJK. So a lot of you must be asking the question, overall, what did I think of JJK? Overall, I thought it was incredible. As a story, as a manga, I would give it a 7 out of 10, but completely honestly, and this is glazing aside, this isn't even me being Gojo, 10 out of 10 enjoyability. I had an incredible amount of fun. I think we've lost sight of a lot of things by the end of the manga. I also think we've lost the sight of the fact that I'm allowed to critique things even if I like them, and I'm allowed to like things even if they're far from perfect, like Jujutsu Kaisen was. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Like I said at the start, I want this to be an open discussion, so let me know down below what you thought about JJK out of 10, in terms of enjoyability and in terms about overall story implications, compared to what else you've read before. I've said this a million times on the channel already. Go check out the non-JJK videos. I put a lot of effort into those, and I think they're actually kind of better than JJK itself, because again, it was just a 7 out of 10. Leave any suggestions down below. Go join the Discord and all the other social media in the description down below. You are looking so beautiful. I'm so glad that we were part of this ride together. I'll see you next time. I love you. Goodbye.